All right, so the big question that I always get is how do we know if we have a measurable marketing campaign and what does it take to be successful? I get this all the time. Like, how do I know if I'm getting my return on my investment? Where do we shift our focus? How do we get more leads? How do we get more clients? Where's the sales at? A lot of this is a tool. This is something that created that just allows us to really find our focus and to really know which checkpoints we're looking for when it comes to marketing. But before you get started in a successful campaign with this, there's just a handful of tools that you want to make sure that you have access to, or maybe it's an employee that does this for you, or maybe it's a company that can manage this for you. But there's a few tools that you need to set in place. Number one, you need to know your budget, what you're willing to spend. You're going to want to set up a Google and Facebook ad account. You also want to have an email marketing system, some sort of CRM. This is where we're going to store our data, keep track of everybody, and then this will also send out autoresponders, which is a response mechanism. So when somebody communicates with you, you don't necessarily have to respond to every email because we can make those emails go out on your behalf. You'll also want to have some sort of Adobe software because Publisher and Word, some of these programs don't do a very good job with design elements. You just won't get the look and feel that I think that you'd be looking for with some of those elements. So an Adobe software would be very good, and you can get it for very, very affordable price on adobe.com. Then you're going to want the ability to create landing pages. So you'll want access to your website to be able to create landing pages, put together content easily without having to rely on a third party at all times that's going to run up the charges on you. Then you're going to want web tools and analytics so that you can track the activity that's happening on your website, as well as there's another whole series we could do on it, but just there's tracking codes that you can put on your website as well that you can retarget ads with. It's called pixeling, and we can talk about that another time. You may want to set up a Pixels account with Facebook. Um, the next thing that you're going to want to make sure you have is a decent follow-up process. So once you do get that lead in conversation, you're going to want to be able to follow up with them appropriately, which also leads right into having a competent sales staff. Sometimes the killer can be you get all this work done, and by the time that phone rings and somebody answers the phone or they get an email, they have no idea how to answer or field the questions, and suddenly the competence in the sales staff is way down, and then the confidence in your buyer becomes very little as well. But it's definitely mirrored directly. Your competent sales staff is going to give confidence to your buyer. Then you're going to want to have a comfortable meeting space. So once people come into your facility, are looking around, make sure that the meeting space is very comfortable. The lighting is appropriate. It smells good. Make sure that the temperature is warm or cool depending on the time or season. Make sure that they have water, beverages, little refreshments, things that they can feel like they're coming into your home. If somebody walks into your front door, usually we offer them something to drink and then invite them into the kitchen where we share in conversation and catch up on good times. So we want to have that same type of inviting atmosphere at our facility as well. Then you're going to want to create a remorse removal. So, when somebody makes a big purchase, you don't just want to hand them a receipt. You want to give them something that they feel comfortable in their purchase, give them literature and information that looks good, that looks professional, not just printouts and copies that have got about 50 different, been copied 50 different times. You're going to want to make sure it looks professional and feels good. So when they leave, they've got something in their hand that they take home with them and know that they've purchased something great and joined the good team. And then you're going to want to give them results metrics, reasons, things to look at that shows that you're giving them good results. So these are just some of the tools that you're going to want to start thinking about. I'm not going to cover all these in great depth today, but these are some tools that you're going to want at your disposal to make sure that this whole campaign that I'm going to cut out for you right now is going to be successful. So as we look at things, there are metrics and there are checkpoints that give us clues that give us good marketing clues to where we should be shifting our focus. And one of the things that we need to first establish here is what is the difference between advertising and marketing. A lot of people say I've got a successful advertising campaign and I blew $30,000 and it was very successful. We had a very funny commercial and it was amazing. And that's probably very true, but their marketing could have failed even though their advertising was very successful. And what marketing comes down to is basically just relationships, right? And marketing is about establishing relationships that are long lasting and where people have an emotional attachment to a product or company and they feel that they're going to be taken care of. That's going to be your marketing, whereas advertising is merely hanging a shingle on your door that says we do blank, or raising the flag to say if you need this, come here, type of a thing. So we definitely want to focus and stay geared on relationships and push that focus. So if we're not focused on advertising and we're focusing on marketing, then why do we need ads? Well, it's merely simply put this way, and I think that if we want to really define why, what's the goal of an ad, we really want to look at, what's the process of the buyer? What goes through the mind of a buyer? Well, most of the time, somebody has a logical need. The left side of your brain tells you, hey, you've got a need, and you need to fulfill this need. And now there's this synaptic gap between your left side of your brain and your right side of the brain, and logic and emotion are battling each other, and you need to somehow bridge the gap between logic and emotion. So what ends up happening is this logical need goes from the left side of the brain and passes over into the right side of the brain, and we go into what's called a discovery phase. So in our mind, we start discovering all the various different resources that we have at our disposal, whether it's websites, research documents, people, conversations, TV, the news, politics, Facebook, everything. We're seeking out one piece of advice or one piece of information merely to get ourselves validation. And the more validations we have along the positive that solidify or say, hey, that need or logic makes sense, you need that specific need or that logic to be fulfilled, each validation stacks up one on top of each other until in your mind you can bridge the gap from emotion back to logic to say, yes, I need that. So again, it brings us back to, why do we advertise? What's the goal of an ad? Well, if we're trying to move somebody from logic into discovery phase and we're going to hold their hand down this, we can't just jump right into an advertisement that says, hey, buy this product, because they haven't even gone through the discovery phase. They don't know what else is out there. They haven't had enough validation saying that it's a good choice or a good decision in the logic. So in an ad, for us to say directly, there are some direct sales you can do that, but in most cases when we're dealing with services like we are, you can't just say, hey, use our service because it's the best. It just doesn't work. So the goal of our ad is merely to get them into the discovery phase, but to coach them along that by getting them to the website. So my number one goal with every advertisement is get people to the website. If I can create traffic on a website, my advertising is absolutely successful. From there, we want opt-ins. So once they're on our site, they start looking through our website and they start looking at everything. They say, okay, I'm going to opt in and start a conversation with you. So the next milestone is going to be conversation. So we go from ads to website. The goal of the website is get them opt in and start a conversation, not an opt-in to sale. We want opt-in to conversation because we're building a know, like, and trust factor. We want people to know who we are, know what we do, like who we are, like what we do, and trust who we are and trust what we do, that we're going to fulfill that need for them. So again, we're just creating validation after validation, and we can do that either through infographics, we can do it through nurture sequences and autoresponders. We can continue the validation process with videos and web content. We can use testimonial videos, which is basically word of mouth. And we're creating all this atmosphere on the website to get that know, like, and trust factor. A lot of that social proof kind of comes in this conversation. And from the conversation, that creates that nurturing sequence where we are nurturing it. Now, sometimes people will bypass the nurture, and that's for the person that says, yes, I do like your product, let's go ahead and move into the sale. That's going to be the sale. But if somebody says, no, I'm not sure yet, I'm not there yet, I haven't built enough trust, I don't have enough validation yet, no problem. Take your time. We're going to continue to send you emails. We're going to continue to send you ads that are going to continue to validate that thought or that need until you feel comfortable for, again, the sale. So once we have complete validation, now we've got a sale that takes place. But just because we have the sale doesn't mean we're done. And again, it goes back to that competency and it goes back to that remorse removal. But the sale is basically going to lead us into integration. So somebody might buy something But then as they're going through their program, they're going to realize they need more. They're going to realize that they need extra help. And for us in our services, we can start to use and diversify all of our services and point them in the right direction to either what we can call an upsell or integrate to get them better results, because we all know if we can't get somebody results or feed that logic to say that it's continuing to get them fulfillment, then we lose them as a client and they go out the door and we have a revolving door. So integration or upsells isn't a bad thing. It's actually a very positive thing because it creates customer retention. It gets them results. It keeps them excited about their pursuit for this validation or for this fulfillment of a need that they have in their mind. So from the integration side now creates this overall relationship, which then is going to, if they have a good delivery or a good experience of products and resources, they're going to now refer people to your service. So that's kind of the big, beautiful map of what's all going on. So really, from this, you've realized now that this has always been in the answer has been clearly in the palm of your hand the entire time. We've just been focused on little milestones, and if you can get people to move from your ads to a website, and from a website to an opt-in, and from an opt-in to a conversation, and a conversation to some sort of nurture or sales sequence, and then into an integrated model, which is going to deliver a fantastic product, which is going to create referrals. Those referrals are now hot leads and hot conversations to your service, which are going to lead to new sales, and we have less of a revolving door and more of a solid foundation for a healthy business that's going to continue to grow. And this is really what we've always done, is just focused on advertising. So I ask the question, where do we focus? Anytime somebody asks me this, I say, hey, how many sales do you have? Is it a sales problem? Yes, it's a sales problem. Okay, so if we're looking at sales being an issue, how many conversations have you had this week? And if they say, well, we haven't had many conversations, I can say, well, then we need to look at how many opt-ins do you have on your website? Well, not a whole lot. Well, then we have an opt-in problem, but let's first look at the website and see why you don't have opt-ins. So then we can go back and look at website. And if we look at the web content, there's only 2 sentences and then, hey, opt in and start the conversation, we know that we need to build more content on our website in order to get the opt-ins. And then we use our analytics and Google Analytics and we can say, okay, what's the website traffic look like? And if that's very healthy and there's lots of web traffic but just no opt-ins, we found our problem. We got to build more content. We got to create more validations on our website, answer more questions, create more frequently asked questions that we can follow up on. And then if it's that, we don't have any website traffic, well, then our ads, purely plain and simple, we need more advertising, and we need to continue to focus on our ads. But if we have ads that show, hey, buy now, call to book an appointment, all these things, they aren't going to work. We need to get our people, these prospects, to know, like, and trust us. And really the number one way to do that is to get them to your website and to have really solid, good web content that leads them into a conversation with you. But again, if you have lots of conversations and no sales, well, then the hang up is right there. We need to work on those phone conversations. We need to look at how competent are the phone screenings, how knowledgeable is your staff to get that sale. Are they giving too much information? Sometimes that's the case too. So if you look at this, any one of those areas of the process, if you're missing something or you're stuck somewhere, just take one step backwards, and that's where you look at the health of your company and the health of your advertising. This is what I've been doing for years and years, and it's been very successful. And matter of fact, here's the analytics all the way back from 2010, looking at our website traffic. This is all I do is every year in, year out, I just keep pushing website traffic, and this is where we continue to grow. And as we grow this is the reason why Rejuve Medical has exploded. We have competent, great staff members, very knowledgeable. We've got wonderful professionals here, and on top of that, we've got a marketing campaign that drives content on our website and delivers content to continually push the validations for people that, this is a place they can trust, and this is a place they can call for help, and that's what we deliver on a regular basis. So you can see the trends and the growth from year in, year out, and it goes perfectly hand in hand with the growth of our company. So So again, that's the overall big picture to measuring your marketing and make sure it's successful. So each week we'll continue to dive in deeper and deeper on all these little topics as we continue to talk. So hope this gives you a great foundation to start from and helps you achieve what you're looking to achieve in your marketing campaigns.